Oi, oi.
Oi, oi, Deck. How are you, mate?
Ahoy there. How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. How's everything with you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I'm very excited today because we're going to talk about our most anticipated movies of 2022. I promised it last time, and I've never let our fans down.
You're like a postman with Tourette's. You always fucking deliver.
Exactly. Beautiful. So let's get into it.
Right.
First one on my list, little prefix. This is in no particular order because, I don't know, why would there be a particular order? I haven't even seen them yet. But, Jackass, the new Jackass movie.
Okie dokie.
I'm fucking looking forward to this. Also, as much as everyone's kind of sad that Bam Margera's not a part of it, and I know he technically kind of started it, I always hated him. So, I'm not bothered that he's not in it, and I hope he gets off the drugs, but stays out of the movies.
Oh, is he not in it?
Nah.
So was he the one with the really
He was the one who used to...
died, like fireworks to the dad and...
Yeah, who used to slap his dad about, which was funny.
It was funny.
But I used to just didn't like. He was the only one. Him and that. Do you remember that little skinny Weasley little dude?
I can't remember. I know like Steve-O and all that. Like
Yeah, it was only those two I never liked, and then other than that, they're all fucking jokers. But they're all back.
Yeah, I think this personally should be good. Like
I haven't actually seen the last couple, so I don't know why I'm
Neither did I.
hyped for this one.
I guess at one point they're just gonna end up or run out of ideas for crazy stunts, but I'm sure there's enough for like another 3 films.
Well, they're physically unable to do it. Like on this one, from what I've seen on some of the making ofs and behind the scenes stuff, it looks like they have like some new younger people in to do a lot of the stunts.
Oh, I see.
Because like when you see some of them, you're like you do that classic thing where everyone's got older, but you're shocked at a celebrity getting older for some reason. But some of them, really, you are like... Steve-O kind of is ageless or something about the way he looks, where he never seems to get older. But Johnny Knoxville and a lot of them look old as shit.
I guess they've abused their bodies quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? But
without a doubt, I can't fucking wait. What was your favourite ever Jackass stunt?
I like the one when they went into the... I can't remember, when they went into the corridor and they were like walking along, and all of a sudden that big like fist would like punch over, and the little like tiny guy, what's his name?
Wee Man.
He just walks out like with a coffee and it just smashed him across the floor. Like
I always loved the dumb ones, like when they had that guy with... He pretended like both his arms were broken and he had a cask and his trousers were falling down, and he'd get random guys on the street to help him do his trousers up.
That's funny, yeah.
What have you got?
Right, so my first one. Now, going back to no particular order, some of these on my list, I'm not necessarily saying they're going to be amazing films, but I want to see them anyway, just to see what they are, what they can make. For
sure.
So I'm going for, back on the little ex-Billy Elliot, Tom Holland flex for next year again, Uncharted.
Yeah, I saw a poster for this. What is it?
Basically, trailer looks not the best. It's got Mark Wahlberg in it as well. It's basically like a collection of PS4 games, I think. So It's like an adventure, Indiana Jones-esque. I just like any sort of movies that they make into video games, because historically they've been terrible. So I'm just waiting for the one that actually comes along that is half decent.
What's the best one? Mortal Kombat? Probably.
Could be Mortal Kombat.
Probably is. Resident Evil, the first film is a fun film,
Yeah.
but it's definitely not like a faithful adaptation. After that, I don't really know. Also, those two were by the same director, actually, interestingly, so fair play to them.
And don't watch Doom.
Yeah, Doom is horseshit. It's just a funny thing of like, why do they never... They take something, a brand with an invested audience, and then say, oh, fuck what it's actually about, though.
Yeah.
Let's just do what we want.
I mean, I'm still sitting there waiting for the Gears of War one that's been...
See, those are the two. I thought Gears of War...
I think they've shelved it.
Just because of the style and the aesthetic of it, would have been an amazing film. And Halo, the Halo film that was going to be made by Peter Jackson back in the day that ended up getting ditched. Peter Jackson at that time, just anything he touched was golden, so that would have been amazing. I don't even know, I've never played Halo, I know nothing about it, but the way he talked about how much he loved like the mythology and the story, and Peter Jackson being at the helm, it would have been fucking bad, boy.
Yeah, I imagine like, well, you've played Gears of War.
Not really. I'm not really a gamer, to be
honest. If they'd done it in like the sort of vein of like as gritty as like Saving Private Ryan, D-Day, kind of thing. Because
that's why the aesthetic of it would have been so interesting. And a lot of the time, because I was going to ask you about Uncharted in a second, what about the gameplay matches it? Like, would translate well to a movie? Because the cool thing about Gears of War is it's that style of shooter, you know, like the hiding behind walls and all that, where there's an element of realism into the actual gameplay. So, in that sense, you could see things from the game you could see things from the game in the movie that wouldn't seem annoyingly shoehorned in the way, say, the first person scene in the end of Doom was shoehorned in and a bit of a gimmick. Do you understand what I mean? So what's the gameplay? What about Uncharted makes you excited about it becoming a movie? Is it the storyline? Is it the style? Like what?
It's very narrative driven, cut between a lot of big kind of like cutscene set pieces. So if they could translate the big set pieces into the movies, which movies can, I've seen it many times, it could potentially work. But I'm saying from now, I think this is going to be a flop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think it's going to be shit or just a financial flop?
I just... not a financial flop, but I don't think they'll be faithful to it like they've done with every... You know, they'll just shoehorn random characters in there that weren't in the game, like loads of other video game films, and it will... You know, the fans will be up in smoke about it, essentially. So, yeah.
Alright, next I've got Moonfall. Roland Emmerich is back with after 2012 and all those fucking films. His last couple of movies have sucked big time, but I will always say that Independence Day is the best first half of a movie ever.
Yeah.
Compared with like the second half where it goes off the rails a little bit. But the first half of Independence Day, you won't watch the whole film, but if you're flicking through the channels and you see that, and the fucking giant, that big shadow's going over the city because the flying saucer's over it, you're going to fucking watch it for at least 20-30 minutes. Up until Will Smith's stripper wife has to hide with her dog from that big fireball. But this new one, I know nothing about it, if I'm honest, other than the fact that the premise is, can you guess? It's Roland Emmerich's big disaster movie and it's called Moonfall.
So basically, someone's messed... By the way...
I believe you.
No, I don't know anything about this. You can't see me doing stuff, obviously, on the pod. I guess it's something to do with the moon is held by the tides or current, and then something messes up, and then the moon starts collapsing to Earth.
I think you're actually giving it too much credit of there being a reason,
Aliens.
but it is the moon falls into the Earth.
Right.
So, fucking, that sounds awesome.
But doesn't that just remind you a bit of... I know it's going to be a different movie altogether, a bit like recently Don't Look Up.
Oh, do you know what? I was just started thinking of Don't Look Up. I love Don't Look Up. We should do that as an actual review.
I liked it as well. Hate.
Yeah, what was that? Like, I couldn't believe the level of hate. I thought it was going to be a film where he went... Because he's a director with a certain style. Like, a lot of people felt Wes Anderson was too Wes Anderson-y in his recent French Dispatch movie. And obviously they're nothing alike, but Adam McKay has his own sort of thing he does, you know, a lot of breaking the fourth wall, talking to the camera, where I could see him going too far of that. Like, a lot of people thought he went too far of it in Vice and it became annoying. So I assumed he had done that in this movie, which is why people were getting so annoyed and saying it was so contrived. But when I watched it, I was like, he actually was really restrained in that style in this one, and it was one of those movies where I could have watched another hour of it. I was loving it.
Yeah, I liked it as well.
But anyway, what's your next move?
It's gonna come up on the list at one point. Number 2 for me, the Batman.
Oh, that was my next one.
Sorry mate, I knew there might be duplicates. Obviously, some questions about this. I think it will be good. Can Robert Pattinson pull it off? I think he could. I think he's quite a good actor. He doesn't get enough credit, actually. He's a decent actor. But I think this will be, you know, a good film. It's got a good cast, Zoe Kravitz and stuff like that. Andy Serkis is in it, Colin Farrell. So I think this will be good. There's not really much we can say about it because every Batman film comes out, it's a big draw for the crowds anyway. So That's on the list.
I can't fucking wait for this. Getting an 18 certificate Batman movie with what I'm feeling like. We've spoken about this before, but I feel like DC are actually leaning into what's his name, the director of the Joker's idea, where he wanted them to have a dark alternative universe for the DC characters. Yeah. Almost as a lot of them being just standalone pictures, not even with a connected universe. Yeah. And I don't know if that's specifically what they're doing, or they just happen to also go with a more adult orientation for Batman and Joker at the same time. But either way, I'm loving this whole new angle they're going down. It looks fucking class. The trailer got me buzzing. The Bat and the Cat one didn't get me as buzzing for it. The one Riddler, where it focused more on the Riddler and his whole fucking riddle shit he was doing. Like, if they can make the Riddler a great villain after that horse shit with Jim Carrey back in the day, then I'm fucking buzzing for this.
Funny enough, I saw something out today. It was kind of like, when I was getting my list together for today's podcast, William Dafoe's come out.
Oh, yeah.
And he's basically said he wants to play the Joker in a Batman movie where he's not actually the Joker, but he's impersonating the Joker. And they're like feuding with each other. And I was like...
Him and the Joker are feuding.
Yeah. So basically, he's like a copycat. Like going around doing stuff. And he's like, I'm the Joker. But like, it doesn't make sense if you think about it like that. But I think it could work with William
It's
Dafoe.
a really specific wish.
Yeah. Like, he basically came out and was like, I've had the craziest idea of what we can do. And I'm like, number one, William Dafoe could definitely pull off being the Joker, man.
Yeah.
100%, man. But so,
it nearly, like, there's so many fucking superhero movies nowadays, and there's so many random chances they'll take with it. Yeah. That, I don't, you know, it definitely could happen. You would have said a couple of years ago the idea of actually throwing all the previous actors that have played Spider-Man in the big movies into one movie would just be ridiculous fan fiction, and it came true, so who knows what's going to happen. Yeah. Right, my next one is The Northman. We've spoken about this movie before, but I can't fucking wait for The Northman. The trailer, I didn't know what to think of the trailer. Like, my impression for this movie, I've said it before, so I'll say it more succinctly, but I feel like it's going to be a transition movie for Robert Eggers, and it's going to be very flawed, but in its best moments, some of the best movie you see that year. But it's going to be him moving from those small productions with one or two actors to a bigger, more ambitious project. And there's going to be a lot of teething problems that come along with that. But it will still probably be my favourite film that year, but it will be a lot of people won't like it, and a lot of critics will have good and bad things to say about it. And I think it probably won't make money just because it's just so hard for really... Unless it's like a popcorn movie or like a existing brand, it's so hard for those movies to make money. Yeah, like, I guess your comparison is like, it's not going to be the draw as, say, a new Spider-Man film. But for fans of the cinema like us, I would get much more excited about a release like this than the new Doctor Strange. Yeah. I'd be down to the cinema a lot quicker to see this than Doctor Strange. Although I'm not having a go at Marvel or comic book films, you know, because they're good films, but I just prefer more gritty stuff like this and the cinematography and everything like that. So, undoubtedly. What you got? Right, so my next one, and I'm going to have to go into the synopsis a bit about this. It's a new film coming out, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's called Ambulance. Gyllenhaal, sorry. I always pronounce it. Sorry, I'm not being a cunt. No, it's alright. It's alright. So it's Michael Bay's new one. Alright. Right. So this isn't going to be one like Transformers, the big, you know, massive action kind of ones. Basically, the premise to this, or the plot to this, is he's dropping his blockbuster things a little bit, and it's a thriller basically. Two thieves unknowingly rob an ambulance carrying a paramedic and a patient in critical condition, and it's a remake of a Danish film. Okay. So I think this could be good. Like, I reckon this could be very good. Did you ever see
Or
Did you ever see Gain and Pain, where he kind of went a different direction and did a smaller scope sort of movie? It's good. You should check it out. It's got Mark Wahlberg and The Rock, but it's based on a true story about these two steroid abusing bodybuilders who were complete idiots and ended up.
they robbed something.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but it's a good. It's different. It's just interesting to see him do something so different. So that sounds well alright. So it's a lot smaller.
Yeah, I guess
scale, is it?
Yeah, I guess like I'm kind of excited because Jake is a very good actor. Like number one. I'm not going to
first name.
Yeah. Basically,
well.
I was down the old spoons with him the other day.
Yeah. No,
the old Jakey boy.
He's a fantastic actor, and there's something about him. He's one of those guys where I feel like he's nearly a bit. I don't know if it's because he's so good looking or he has a certain look, but
underrated.
Like, I feel like if you actually said to a movie fan, brought him up, they'd be like, yeah, he's a great actor. But I feel like he doesn't come to people's minds as phenomenal actor, and also underrated skill for actors is so good at picking a role. When does he, he's one of those people where you see, okay, he's in it, it's probably good. It's not going to be shit.
But he was also in, which reminded me of this, which I haven't got round to watching yet. I'm going to watch it probably this weekend. He was in one where he's like a police officer and he's been like taken off like duty because of anger issues and he's like a call handler or something.
Yeah,
which reminded me of this.
That was also a remake of a Danish movie.
Yeah, it was. So it was striking how similar it was, and apparently he's really good in that. So I've got high hopes for this.
That's a fun little movie. I like movies like that where it's very tight and kind of centered all on one person, and it's good. It's one of those worth a watch.
There's one, I don't want to get off the topic, there's one with Tom Hardy in it where he's like driving in a car.
Not saying it.
Quite similar to that. But on to your next one now.
Okay, so the next one I'm really looking forward to is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. You heard about this?
Yes, we discussed
So it's Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage, but also his subconscious keeps coming to him in the form of Nicolas Cage in previous incarnations of other roles he's played.
Yes.
And it's not, obviously it's a fictional version of him where he is getting tormented by the versions of him from his previous roles, anger at him for why did they blow his career on and start making all these shit movies. And he's also then invited by, I think, an Israeli billionaire.
Yeah, some
who's
billionaire.
Also played by Nicolas Cage.
Oh, really?
Invited to his into his party and offered I think it's $6 million or something if he shows up and appears at his party. So that's all I know about it. I purposely avoided all the trailers, avoided everything. I want to go into this one totally blind, but I don't think I need to explain why I'm looking forward to that.
So I can't. What do you reckon? I don't want to dwell too long on this, but what role would you want to see the most out of all his roles?
Oh, that's a good question. So
I'm going Con Air. He just turns around the corner and he's got the bunny. Put the bunny down.
Oh my god, definitely
Con Air.
To be
Con Air.
Con Air. Face Off.
Yeah.
Takes his face.
Oh, Face Off. Yeah.
What do you call it? Wild at Heart.
Yeah, that's a good film.
Raising
Arizona.
Fucking
loads of them. This is going to be class.
Oh mate, it's going to be. Even if they get it wrong, it's going to be fucking great.
I hope they don't get it really badly wrong because it could have been so right. Do you know?
But even if they get it wrong, you got to appreciate. I'll go give it my money anyway. Yeah. You got to appreciate when somehow it's hard to get any film made, but getting a film with that bonkers of a premise made.
Yeah.
And you got. This is why I always rate Nicolas Cage. He fucking takes chances, man. He clearly has to do stuff for money. You know, he's a passionate guy. He seems to fucking. He's a real romantic. He's had 6 marriages or something. He's always getting divorced. Always got new bills to pay and whatever. So he takes those sort of projects that for the money. But he clearly loves acting. And if you ever listen to him talking in an interview, it gives a lot more context to the kind of roles and performances he likes to give. He's obsessed with the 1930s German silent movie cinema where it was really expressive and stuff. And when you know him in that context, all his performances start to make a lot more sense. Do you know what I mean?
But I reckon they presented him with this script and it's you playing yourself.
Yeah, how fun's that?
On a load of cocaine. He's like, Where do I sign?
Yeah.
Right.
Can't wait.
So moving on. Now, I was umming and ahhing about this one, to be honest, a lot. And it nearly didn't make my list. Because, if I'm honest, I think this is going to be a shocker. But I'll explain why it's included.
Alright.
So, essentially, it's the new Jurassic Park film. Jurassic World Dominion.
It was also on my list, and I also have the exact same sort of feelings that you...
Because it's got the original cast with like Sam.
Well, you talk first,
yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
get into mine.
So the previous ones have been terrible. You know, raptors and motorbikes, and I can control raptors and whistling and all this stuff. But then I saw that it was bringing back, you know, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, and they kind of closed out the last film with Jeff Goldblum saying the world's going to need to live with dinosaurs. So like I was kind of like, oh, what's going on here? So just for those facts that they're back, I feel like this
it's exciting as fuck.
Yeah, I feel like it could be something good that I will pay to watch, but at the same time, I think it may be
just
shit.
expecting it to be
Here's
my thing with it is the original Jurassic Park was my original favourite movie. It was you know when you're like 4 and you have a VHS you bring to every house you go to and make them put it in.
Yeah.
That was Jurassic Park for me at that age. I loved it, was obsessed with it, still obsessed with it. Lost World, everyone seemed to hate it when it was released. I fucking still love it. I loved it then, love it now. Jurassic Park 3, big dump of shit compared to the others, but still a worthwhile movie. Like, it's a fun movie. Had a lot of problems. Like, it actually, the script they had got thrown out 2 weeks before they were going to shoot, and they ended up writing on the fly a completely new script. If you ever look at interviews with William H. Macy, who was in it, he was furious because he signed up to one film, and 2 weeks before it, they dumped it and brought in a shitty new film that he hated being in.
And he couldn't get out because he had signed the contract.
So, with that context, you can see that, like, I don't know what the old script must have been like, but it must have been absolutely, like, calamity. But anyway, that one wasn't very good. New Jurassic World movie coming out, 7 years ago. I got super excited. My brother got super excited. We were like, let's go to the cinema. We got our ticket. We went to the cinema. We were like, fucking yes, this is going to be great. Dinosaurs, Jurassic World. I'd seen the trailer, like the park's open and all that.
Yeah.
I was so excited. And then the quickest I've ever been like, oh, this is going to suck. When I sat down to watch a movie in the cinema. Honestly, like the first 30 seconds, the acting, like something about it was so...
Pratt again?
No, it was the... Remember the opening scene is the Dallas Howard and her family, her like nephews. And their acting was so bad and the writing so corny that I thought they were doing that classic movie thing where it starts off like that and then zooms out and you realise it's an advert for Jurassic Park within the movie. Yeah. And then I thought the real movie's going to start. But it never did, and it just was that shit.
Then there's another one.
The second one was even worse. Even worse. But I'm still excited about this one. Firstly, just because I love dinosaurs. I'll never get enough dinosaurs. And I can't wait. But also, the reason I'm excited, and the one thing you really do have to give to this trilogy, other than, you can call it like a cash grab or whatever, but this trilogy has tried to take way more chances than the original trilogy. Yeah. The original trilogy was more or less carbon copies of each previous film. Yeah. At least the second one, they had a T-Rex get off the island, but other than that, they were very similar. Whereas this one, with the first film where the park is working, is sort of a rehash of the first one. Then the second film was the island dies and they get off the island, and this film's going to be dinosaurs all over the planet.
That's good.
So really, as a trilogy and as how a concept could evolve rather than rehash the same thing each time, this is a lot. This is, it's a brave direction to go in, and it's more in keeping with the spirit of the original book. Because the original book, a major plotline in it was that animals were already getting off the island, and it ended with the island being completely destroyed by the Costa Rican Air Force and raptors showing up in the Brazilian rainforest.
Wow.
So you got to applaud them for that, but the execution, the direction, the scripts especially more than anything have been atrocious. But having said all that, I can't fucking wait.
I mean, I guess if
they're going to get my money.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they are escaping the island, the possibilities are near endless to what can happen.
I'm already fantasising how I'd open the movie.
Because some of them can like fly and shit.
How you get Sam Neill involved.
Yeah. Like he'll come back as like, they've escaped, we need an expert. And he'll like turn up.
Or Sam Neill, like, he just can't resist seeing what raptors are like in the next
in
modern
environment. David Attenborough, like, here we see.
Just a boner of Renee catching and all that shit.
So,
your film on water. Do you want anything while I'm up?
No, I'm cool, mate. Have you had that on your list as well? Or I was umming and ahhing about that one.
No, man, that was always going to be on my list, man.
I mean, a T-Rex.
Yeah, dinosaurs.
Going around Palm
Always dinosaurs. Yeah, man. Imagine like a raptor in the pub. Like.
Gary Price is there like, alright, Barry? Yeah. I'm like, no, it's a fucking T-Rex, son. I'm Barry. No, I'm Phil.
Yeah.
So yeah, on to it's your one now.
Alright, it's my one.
Your one.
Alright, so next up, Killers of the Flower Moon. So this is there's loads of reasons why this should be an anticipated film. It's Martin Scorsese's next movie, so that's reason enough. It's got an amazing cast. It's got DiCaprio. Has it got De Niro? Or did I just imagine?
Yeah,
it does.
Niro,
amazing cast. But even if it had none of those things, just the premise is amazing. Do you know what it's about?
No, I don't know.
It's a true story. I don't know much about the true story because I want to watch the movie, so I'm surprised by it, and then delve into the actual history of it. But this is the premise basically, and this all really happened. It's about a millionaire who owned his own hotel. And he designed a hotel and secretly built it so there was tons of trapdoors and secret layers and secret entries into rooms so that he could murder guests.
Right.
And this really happened. How fucking...
Was this set in Victorian times?
I think it was set... From what I've seen of just the photos, I'm guessing kind of like the 20s, maybe 30s.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I've heard about this. Actually, I don't want to say anything because...
Yeah, don't tell me.
You don't know, yeah, sorry.
But how fucking crazy does that sound?
This does sound like... It's basically going to be like a cross between The Shining and Goodfellas.
Oh my god, yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah, great fucking analogy.
I think it should be class.
That'd be quite a fun game, actually, just to play, like... We have to generate 2 random movies and then imagine what that two movies made would end up like.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We should do that on the next one.
You'll be like, shit.
Yeah, let's do that.
But that sounds. When's that? Obviously 2022.
Fuck knows. I feel like it's going to be probably halfway through the year.
month kind of thing.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't written it down, so I don't know. But it's coming out next year. I can't fucking wait. That's going to be awesome. What's your next one?
Right, my next one kind of like ties me into what you said earlier about Jurassic Park. So I was kind of disappointed this wasn't next on my list. Basically, it's Lightyear. So basically, my point about your Jurassic Park, swap the Jurassic Park VHS for Toy Story, and that was mine in the 90s. I remember my auntie came round with Toy Story 1 in the original case. We watched it and I was like, this is the best film I've ever seen, man.
The photo on the case was
Woody and him flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, this is Buzz's origin story. It's DreamWorks again, so, although they haven't done hit after hit loads of times, I think this will be incredible.
So, it's his origin story. But is his origin story not as a toy, I'm assuming?
It's quite weird.
Like him in the shop, him in the factory getting made.
No, it's about him as an astronaut going to space. It's the actual human guy. So it's basically what he done in his life that made him be the toy Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
So he's like a hero, I guess. Like, do you know what I mean?
Right. Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like a real life kind of.
It's not live action though.
No, it's a cartoon.
Holy shit.
So it sounds.
What's it called?
Good. Lightyear. Yeah. And then Chris Evans is voicing him. So.
Chris Evans?
Captain America.
But who was the original voice?
Tim Allen. Obviously he was.
Tim Allen back?
No, that's what I thought.
What?
I know.
No, you can't not have Tim Allen.
It's like if they were doing a Woody one and it's anyone apart from Tom Hanks, I'd walk out.
Yeah, imagine it's like, hey, there's a snake in my
yeah. So I guess they can't have the same voice as the toy because he's not a toy.
Yeah, but like he's also not a fucking he's not a talking toy, no shit. But I don't know about that. But other than that,
I'll does sound good. Yeah,
I'll see. Fucking one.
Well, right, what's your one next?
All right. Okay, so Avatar 2, if it actually comes out, I'm looking forward to. And I wasn't actually a big fan of the original Avatar. I might revisit it, but there was something about it that just kind of felt
wooden.
Yeah, which is weird saying about James Cameron movie because he is just the master of a big action film, but it just didn't get me. Like the plot of it, it felt like maybe too much time got spent in creating the amazing immersive world, and I loved the universe it created. I loved how much effort went into trying to create an entire alien ecosystem and food chain and all the different animals, and it was really cool. But the plot was just a bit, I don't know, I just didn't like it.
It was mad. Like, it was like, it's just, it's these blue creatures. It's like, fair enough, yeah. Like, and then all of a sudden, you've got humans walking around as giant robots fighting them, and then all of a sudden, one of the humans that was originally fighting them turns into one of the blue creatures and fights for them, and you're like, right.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? that partly also was my thing, where even when the humans are the cunts, I'm never going to root against them. Like, who are these blue fuckers? Fuck them.
I just didn't get into, like, obviously, I get the whole, do you reckon there was, like, an ulterior motive of, like, you know, the cutting down the rainforest and all this shit?
Yeah, no, it was...
Probably, but I just couldn't...
it was a theme, obviously.
Yeah, I just couldn't... I just had no affiliation to the blue creatures. I didn't give a shit what happened to them.
I wasn't against them, but I couldn't be like, hooray, they're killing shitloads of humans right now.
Yeah,
Even though the humans were the bad guys, I wasn't rooting for the humans either, but I was just a bit like... It's hard. I'll never quite put my finger on what I didn't like about that movie. It felt like it had all the... You know the way like it had all the pieces, but it felt like there wasn't a soul or character to it.
Yeah,
Whereas Aliens, such a character to it. Both Terminator movies, such a sense of character to the movie. Where it just felt like that, where its heart was supposed to be was just an empty black hole.
Yeah, for me personally, I've said it many times in these in our podcast. I just find it difficult to watch film with just constant excessive CGI. It just really like turns me off from it.
Tell you one film that never turned me off.
What
was King Kong? 2005.
That was good. Actually, that was good. Actually,
the CGI in that, I still think it's never been remotely anything's come close to that.
Especially the T-Rex.
Like watch, the first shot where the T-Rex head appears next to Naomi Watts when she's on the log. That I'm always awestruck that that's not a model. That's not physically there. That is
Jackson CGI. Again, isn't it?
Oh, he's the best, man. He's the best special effects director ever.
Yeah, he is.
Having said all that and slating off Avatar, I am really looking forward to Avatar 2 because it is. I could never say it's a bad movie. It's one of those movies where I didn't get quite why it got so much love, but we've missed out on so many big event movies over the past year during this fucking pandemic.
That was the highest grossing since Spider-Man's taken over.
Maybe it has, yeah.
Maybe.
Even Endgame didn't overtake Avatar.
Their budget must have been fucking ridiculous.
I think it was the biggest at the time anyway. I'm not sure what it was, but it was. I think it tipped over the 300 million mark anyway. Marketing and everything is probably $500 million.
I will going back to your point, I will watch it, and even if it's shit, I'll say yes, I watched it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it is just like that blockbuster release that you need to just watch whatever it is. So yeah,
what you got, son?
Right, my next one, I am going just because we talked about it previously. So I purposely looked for this in one of our previous. I think this week in film episodes, it's The Flash.
Alright.
So it's essentially
What's Flashy Boy?
The DC's take on a multiverse, which we discussed previously. So turning up into this is Ben Affleck as Batman and Michael Keaton as Batman.
Oh shit! Okay, well I'll give that a watch.
Yeah. So like, you know,
Ben Affleck, I'm a fan of, and I kind of liked his Batman, even if I didn't like the movies. But Michael Keaton as Batman again, that sounds fucking awesome. Is he going to be an old Batman?
There's not much known about it, but the casting of Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne is either, you know, a stunt or a big hint into what will be seen, like a multiverse. So it's kind of DC's throwback at Marvel, I reckon.
Really? This is the new thing now.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it? Yeah.
So it's going to be, I will watch it, but obviously I don't think it'll beat the Marvel versions.
Oh, we'll see. You'll see. There's no reason why just because DC's been very shitty up till now, there's no reason why they might not turn it around. Like their recent output, in the past couple of years, they had the Joker. New Batman looks good.
True.
Even if it's not a brilliant movie, the execution that they're going for all looks on point. And they almost immediately cleaned up their mess of Suicide Squad and brought out a really good movie.
But which one was that?
The new Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, I need to watch that one. No,
it's fucking mate. It's great.
Has it got John Cena in it?
It's honestly, it was
actually good.
Do you know what? Did it come out last year?
I think so.
Should have had it in my best movies of the year. It was brilliant. I loved it. Watch it. It's fucking. It will just have a smile on your face the whole time.
I kind of saw it, Declan, and I was like, oh.
Same director as what's it called? Flying Through Space, that Marvel movie. Defenders of the Unit. No, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Same director as that. But imagine that, but the sense of humour is dialed up and R-rated.
Okay, I kind of saw it flash up on my Now TV, and it comes out, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, because the Suicide with Jared Leto is Joker.
No, it is brilliant, and I don't know if they've had a change in top management or whatever at DC, but it seems like the past year or two, past couple of years, they've been really making good decisions.
I'll add that. Sorry,
anyway,
so next one.
So my next one is a bit of it will sound weird at first. You'd be like, oh, really? You're looking forward to that? So it is called Blonde, and it is a biopic of Marilyn Monroe. Do you know who it's directed by?
I saw this pop up in my research as well, but I cannot remember who's
Andrew Dominic, aka Chopper.
Oh, really?
AKA
fucking hell.
The assassination of
Jesse
James by the coward Robert Ford.
I did see that.
So the fact that I'd be kind of into a Marilyn Monroe movie anyway if it was done good. But the fact that, and I'd be really into anticipating him having a new movie out. But the fact that those two are together, that's just such an odd blend. I'll tell you another odd blend that just occurred to me, but it's not coming out next year, and I'm not especially looking forward to it. But guess who's directing Meg 2?
Fucking even guess that, man.
It's the guy that made Sightseers.
Oh, that weird British
movie where they're in a caravan and they go off killing people. And he also made what was that other really freaky movie where they're in the English Civil War in the 1600s and they're all on mushrooms.
I know that one as well.
I mean, it doesn't help that I don't remember either of the titles, but you know what I'm saying? He is making Meg 2.
Maybe no one wanted to make it though.
I don't know.
The first one was fucking.
It's just such an odd
Who's
marriage.
Jason Statham in it?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked Meg for what it was. It ticked every box for me.
It's like Deep Blue. It will never be as good as Deep Blue.
Yeah, I mean, I unironically
don't even get started.
Unironically love Deep Blue Sea. But yeah, so just the marriage of those two is so intriguing that I'm really, really looking forward to that.
My last one, and I'm going to end it on a nostalgic note, like I kind of opened it with. As you can see, I really do play a lot of video games. So the last one is another video game. So this is very early in the works, but it's supposed to come out in 2022 anyway. It hasn't got a title yet. Untitled new Super Mario movie.
I heard about this.
Yeah. So not a lot's known about it. Chris Pratt's in it. Apparently everyone was getting really annoyed, why is Chris Pratt voicing Mario? But if you read press reports,
were they getting annoyed because it's cultural appropriation? Cause
I don't know what it was.
They're not bringing in a little Italian fella.
Yeah. But apparently inside, when you read these reports, a leaker has come out and said everyone is so impressed by his like version of it. Anyway, it's got fucking him in it.
Is this going to be his Oscar?
It's got Seth Rogen in it, and it's got Jack Black in it, who I think is playing Donkey Kong. So I reckon this is going to be... It's probably going to be very bad, but...
I don't know.
It can't be as bad as the one with Bob Hoskins.
It depends what tone... we should review that actually at some point. Yeah. It depends what tone they're going for. Like, the fact that they got those three you mentioned, I could picture them going for a recent Jumanji sort of style and tone. Do you know what I mean?
Well, according to this, it's going to be 100% CGI. So it's going to be quite a lot closer to the Mario that everyone wants.
Okay.
Like, do you know what I mean?
So it's going to be CGI, 100% CGI, but it's not going to. I assume it's not going to be done in the form of like a Pixar animation.
I don't think so.
Sort of closer to Tintin.
Basically, from the little that's known of it, the people that is known that are involved is the guy that done Despicable Me. So you can kind of look at it, whatever you will.
But he's like the director,
and the creator of Mario himself from Nintendo. So he's given his blessing.
Japanese fella.
Yeah, Japanese fella. So I reckon it'll be a faithful adaptation, but I can see it being bad.
Well, do you know what? I'm rooting for you, Mario. Yeah. I think you're going to be good, and I can't wait to see the fucking...
I'm just saying, here we go!
Alright, my last one. Unironically, I didn't mean this, but it is Halloween Ends. I, again, don't think this is going to be good. In fact, this is the one on my list that I'm most certain is going to be shit. But I love the Halloween franchise. I love the John Carpenter classics, and I love the really, really shit ones. Even the ones that are just unwatchable. I'll give a watch every now and then, every couple of years. Especially if they're on TV around Halloween. I just love all the Halloween movies. And Halloween, the reboot of Halloween in recent years, the 2018 one, where it writ off everything after the first movie and had Laurie Strode 20 years later, or where it was 40 years later, fighting him again because he gets out. Like, the way they set up and what they tried to do, it wasn't perfect, but I really appreciated it and loved it. And I was super excited for Halloween Kills, and it was dog shit. Like, I'd like to do a review of that one time and just talk about what they could have done, because the premise was great, and then again the premise was brilliant, the idea they were going for was brilliant, and then the execution was so, like, I don't like slating movies on this because we're not movie makers. It's so hard to do it. It is so hard to do it, but sometimes you do think they would have hired a couple of screenwriters and had them sat around, get paid a lot of money and sat around for months, and when, like, you don't need to come up with like the genius dialogue, but just even like the plotting of everything, and just I just find it hard to believe like a couple of talented.
They're not going to hire.
I just can't believe that was the best.
They're not going to go like what you're trying to say, basically.
Hire no.
Is you're not going to go down to a local Tesco's to pick up some milk and be like, I want you on this project. Like, they must have had a decent CV as it was.
Spun around and pointed at a random homeless person and said, you get the job. I just can't believe that was the best they could come up with, and it sucked. But I'm looking forward to it just because it's another Halloween movie, and I want to see if they can maybe, they did the first one was good, so why can't the third one be good? Maybe the middle one was just going to be shit. So I'm rooting for them, and also I love the fact that the guys making it, Danny McBride and the other fella, are massive Halloween fans, and this is a dream for them that came true. So it's a lovely idea around this trilogy. Yeah. Michael Myers killing people, so I'm always up for it.
I think my last comment on that is like, the problem is with these like franchise kind of things, I see them pop up like every few years, and I just automatically, as you said there, assume they're going to be shit, which I kind of thought about this new Scream film, but when I read into it, it's apparently very decent.
I've heard mixed things. To be honest, Scream was in my honourable mentions. Yeah. Which I'm going to do in a minute. But, Scream, my thing with Scream is I'll always watch a bit of Scream, even if it's shit. It's one of those franchises, kind of like Halloween, where I just love it. Like, it's not even, the movies are shit. Like, everything after the second one is shit, and a lot of people don't even like the second one.
I don't like the second one. I like the first
I love the
one.
second one. But I just like, sometimes you just like seeing the characters back.
Yeah,
and talking to each, like, I want to see Dewey and fucking Courtney Cox chatting.
But then, because of Scary Movie, when they took the piss out of it, in the first one, I can never disassociate with that. When like the Dewey's like got the Hoover and stuff like that.
Officer Dooley, for duty.
Yeah, no, I can never.
Mom said you gotta stop fucking the Hoover.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I always remember, like, Scary Movie, I loved it back in the day, and I still like it now, but the guy that played Doofy in that was always... How memorable was he as a performance in that?
So funny,
no, he never did any acting role before or after that.
Yeah,
that was the only thing he ever did.
And to be honest, I like the second Scary Movies jokes as well.
Oh, it's brilliant. We'll do the trilogy
we'll do that.
as a review one time.
We'll do that.
Or maybe the first one stinks. Everything after that stinks. But, alright, honourable mentions. New Top Gun movie. Definitely going to fucking
Maverick,
see that.
yeah. I was debating
Elvis
that.
movie. Definitely going to see that.
Yeah.
Disappointment Boulevard with Ari Aster, one of my favourite new directors, and Joaquin Phoenix, obviously one of the best actors on the planet. The only reason that wasn't in my actual list was just because I really know nothing about it other than the title, the director, and the actor. And to be honest, that probably should have been enough, but fuck it. It's in my honourable mentions. Nothing I can do now. What are you saying, Philly?
I did have one honourable mention, which has already been discussed. It's the blonde Marilyn Monroe thing. I kind of saw it and I was like,
You were intrigued.
I was intrigued by it, but as you said, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's one of my most anticipated films of 2022, simply because of its subject matter. But I think it will be good, so it's my honourable mention.
Alright, is that it?
Yeah.
Alright, sweet. Well, we will catch you next time where we will be playing a game of two movies making a baby and what that would be like.
It should be classic.
Unless we change our mind, in which case we'll be doing something else.
Yeah. You'll have to wait and see.
Until next time, go fuck yourself.
Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.